Unconditional synchronization would be into different categories, 4 different categories. One is implicit wait, one is explicit wait, one is fluent.
Unconditional is just conditional is 4.
Sorry, this is unconditional here, unconditional is here. So to the conditional, so I have the implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait, and then I'll have the timeout exceptions, the timeout. So now these are 4 type of exceptions, 4 types of waits we have, and this is completely an unconditional synchronization, which is thread.sleep, so which we wanted to do on it. So thread.sleep is just a complete halting of your execution. So it will halt means whatever the time you have been given in the milliseconds. So that particular time, it will halt your script, and then it will proceed further with the execution. So now why we need to halt the script? Because the meaning of synchronization itself, the matching the speed of the application with the matching the speed of tool. So now application might be faster or tool might be faster. So just we were trying to match both the speeds. So that's the reason this is called synchronization. And to synchronize that, so we will be having that particular weights over, we will be using that particular weights over here. So that's how this unconditional wait will be trying to do it. And in the conditional wait, we have an implicit wait. Implicit wait will be declared means if we have multiple elements for multiple elements, the implicit wait will be defined, and at one shot you will be defining, means we'll be having the manage method, and the manage method will have WebDriver manage method, and there the timeout method, and then we'll be giving the time. So that's the syntax for this one. So anyways, we have been seeing that syntax also for this one. So this would be for a multiple elements, so which this implicit wait will be given it for it, and it will poll the DOM consistently, and if the element is not there, it will fail that, and then it will proceed further with the next. And this is applicable for all the elements, and it polls, and then it will go and then check for the next element. This will wait for this much of time, and then it will go. So this is what the basic syntax of implicit wait. Whereas explicit wait, so it would be for specific element. Now, if a specific element is visible, present or not, so that we will check it out. And even this is also polls the DOM for every 0.5 second. This is a default polling time for the explicit wait. If the object is not available for that much of specific time, which we have been defined here, so that object, if it is not specified, then this will fail that particular thing and go out for the next test case. So this is how the explicit wait will work on it. So this is what previously we have been discussed about the synchronization and conditional and then unconditional. So in conditional, we covered the implicit wait and the explicit wait. So for this one, so we will be having a wait interface. So wait interface implemented in the Fluent interface, Fluent class, and Fluent class we will be extended by WebDriver wait. So this is what we have been discussed earlier. Now this class extends Fluent, and Fluent wait implements wait interface. Now all the methods in this interface comes to this particular Fluent wait class, and from the Fluent wait class to this particular WebDriver wait class. So that is how this will be used. So now these all the methods are there. So this is the thing that the last we have been discussed, and then we have been stopped over here. Any questions on this one? So in the implicit wait and the explicit wait, that's why I'm stressing out on this particular waits, because writing your scripts, I don't think that is a big challenge for you, because if you know the experts, you can write all your script, driver.find element. That's it, nothing more than that. You will be writing all the statements. But if you consistently running this particular script, it will not pass because of this particular synchronization issues. So now when you got these particular synchronization issues, you need to go and fix them. So how we need to fix it? We'll be adding this particular explicit wait and implicit waits. We will not use it. Mostly we will be using the explicit wait and the Fluent waits. This is how we will try to fix on it. So this is the most important thing which you need to understand in your script writing. So now, any questions on this particular explicit weight or implicit weights you wanted to ask? So we have been discussed the syntax of syntax also. So now first here for this one, we will be creating the WebDriver object. So WebDriver weight object, sorry, WebDriver weight object. And in the WebDriver weight object, in a constructor, it's a over parameterized constructor. We'll pass the driver object and the weight for this one. And this particular object, with this particular object, so we can call the method called until. In the until, we will call the expected class. Expected class dot, we will be calling the condition, what condition we wanted to call. So we have 40 plus conditions are there, presence, visibility, like that. So those particular methods we will be looking after it, and we will be passing on which specified element we wanted to perform this one. So expected condition class condition, and on what object we are waiting for, that object will be defined. So this is how we will be defining this one. Explicit weight.
So if it's the first line, it will creating a driver weight object, it will be general, and we can use that object by every zero object.
Yes. See now here, when you created an object, for every object, there is no need to create this particular WebDriver object. See now we are creating for the WebDriver weight, we are creating the object now. So here with this particular object, if I have 100 elements or 1000 elements, all those things can be accessed with this particular object itself. There is no need for every element you need to create an object, not really required. And you shouldn't do that. You need to take the same object, whatever the weight object which you have been created, weight dot until, because these statements are common. So now till this until expected condition, this condition may vary. So here we'll be looking for visibility of element. Here we will be looking for invisibility of element, and then the object will be changed. But this object here and here, whatever the things are there, it is common. No need to create multiple objects. Only one object which it can take care, and that particular object will be working on it.
So when we are implementing this, when we are writing that WebDriver weight class, WebDriver weight equal to new WebDriver.
WebDriver weight.
WebDriver weight. It's a constructor. It's showing its constructor is deprecated. Means.
See now we are using multiple versions, right? So previously it is 3.141.59. Now the latest version is 4.0.2. This is the latest version. Now the constructors which they have been implemented here, they might be deprecated, right? But still it will work. See, what do you mean by deprecated? So not in use. So those are removed from the usage. You will be having a scratch line for that. For an example, now here we have the WebDriver weight. They'll be having a scratch line, but internally this will call the latest one, or this will be, whether it call the latest one or the code would be, this would be a dead code. This would be a code will be there. They can call this one. I'll clarify on this one. So even whether the code will be removed out from this one when it is deprecated, or it is in only for the use. What you can do is you can use the latest constructors. Now you can see that WebDriver weight, if you have been open the parenthesis, the bracket. So now here you can see what are the parameters you can pass it. So use the latest constructors. So now deprecated means this is not in use. That's for sure. So now whether means after a year, 1 year, they will remove this particular piece of code. At the point of time, you need to go back to your codes and you need to change it. Always it is suggested that if something is deprecated, means some methods might be deprecated, because the latest advanced methods will be there, right? So that they can wanted to destroy that particular old code. So that's the reason they will keep this one as a deprecated. Okay. Any questions?
So if you want to use this object, we need to this weight object. We need to use all the zero objects for if you want to use this for specific function.
I'm very sorry, Prema. I'm not able to understand what you're speaking. I think there is a problem in your mic. I was hearing some words and then some words are not audible. It's so feeble.
Yes, not for that. I'm a little bit loud. For that, this weight object we need to use in every zero objects to wait for the explicit, go for explicit.
See, one thing you need to understand that if you wanted to use the explicit wait, definitely you need to create the WebDriver object. With this object only, you will be able to implement the explicit wait. That's a syntax. So once you create the wait object, WebDriver wait object, that particular WebDriver wait object only it will take care. So you have to be very cautious. Without, see, you can create only one object and then that object can take care of some thousands of objects, thousands of elements. That is fine. But without creating this one, you can't even implement the explicit wait at all. Because with this object only, you can call this particular method. And with this particular method only, you will call this particular class expected conditions and these things. So those things can't be called if you don't create an object. Definitely that need to be called and then that need to be used. So is this the question you asked for or any other question?
Actually, I am asked like we need to use this for all the objects in Selenium geo objects for that.
Yes. You mean to say that can I use it for a radio button, checkbox, link button? So is that your question?
Yeah, some of them are way to what I say that this wait object for 5 seconds. Some of them are I want as 10 seconds, so I need to create another one, right?
Yes. See now, because this is, see now this we can do little bit in a smarter way. How we can do that one is, for an example now, I'll create this WebDriver wait equal to new WebDriver wait. Now, what are the things I need to pass? I need to pass the driver, and I need to pass the time. Time I need to pass it, right? What I'll do, instead of time, I'll be saying that int val. Okay. Now, wait, I'll be calling it. So now I'll keep this one into a method called explicit wait. So now this returns me the object written wait object.
Yeah.
Okay, this wait object will be written for me. Now I'll create a method. Okay, so the method name is WebDriver wait. Okay, for this one, the parameter I'll be saying that int value. Now, whenever I'm calling this one, what I'll try to do, I'll pass the particular parameter as time. So first time I pass with the 5, so that for that particular object, it will stay with 5. But next time I'll give it as 10. It's because whatever the value I pass it over here, it will come and sits over here, right? Yes. Actually, there is a problem in this one. What it will do is it will create multiple objects. It is not recommended. So obviously what you can do is, for an example, for some objects, you need to wait for 5 seconds, and some objects you need to wait for 10 seconds. Means create wait 1, wait 2 objects. So wait 1 always wait for 5 minutes, sorry, 5 seconds. Wait 2 object will wait for 10 seconds. That's it. This would be simple, because now whenever you call this method, every time the object will be created. If I have 100 elements, for 100 elements, you need to create 100 times the object. This is good, but programmatically, this is not suggested. You can create 2, means for an example, now you need to have 3. So now you create only 3 objects. Wait 1, wait 2, wait 3. Wait with 5 seconds, wait with 10 seconds, wait with 15 seconds. You can create 3 objects. So now wait with 5 seconds will wait for 5 seconds. Wait with 10 seconds will wait for 10 seconds. Wait with 15 seconds will wait for 15 seconds. We'll create only 3 objects. And these 3 objects can be called anywhere. And this can be applicable for anything. Either it's a link, either it's a button, either it's a text box, either it's logo, either image, whatever the things are there, you can use the explicit waits. Got it? Any other questions, team? Okay. I just wanted to verify if I missed anything. Actually, here I have the data. I'm trying to pull out that. Selenium expected conditions. So conditional weights, implementation of weights, Selenium Java docs. And as I told you, so these are the documentations. Just go through these particular documentations. These are very, very important. Okay. So I'll share you the documentations also into the chat. You can copy. So okay, you can use that one. So complete weights implementation would be here. And coming back to here, now first of all, we will try to look after this particular weight interface, because now we wanted to discuss about fluent weight. Now we need to understand the fluent weight things, right? So how the fluent weight comes, who is means the parent of this particular fluent weight, we wanted to understand this. Now if you see here, weight is an interface. First of all, weight is a interface. From where package, which package we have it? Selenium support UI, we have an interface called weight. Now for this particular weight, now what are the classes it implemented? See, what are the classes it implemented? Fluent weight, WebDriver weight. We have been seeing the WebDriver weight now. So that is where our explicit weights we have been used it, right? So now what? See now this is a WebDriver weight. From the WebDriver weight has been means extended by the Fluent weight. Okay, you see here, WebDriver weight extends Fluent weight. Okay, so now go back here once again. Now we wanted to discuss this about the Fluent weight. Who is the parent for this Fluent weight? Weight. Who is the child for the Fluent weight or extending class for the Fluent weight? Now from the weight, what it is there? Until is the method. Now this until method is the method. Now it is an interface. Is this method is implemented?
No.
So this is not implemented. So now this will be implemented where this particular method would be implemented. Until it is implemented in which class?
Main class.
Huh?
Main class.
You people are not following it.
WebDriver weight.
Concentrate. So now weight is an interface, right? Now this particular weight interface has to be implemented somewhere else because this is an interface. Now WebDriver weight extends Fluent weight, right? This is not implementing the weight. Where it implemented now?
Fluent weight.
In the Fluent weight it is implemented, right? Now let's see that whether it was happening or not. Go to the Fluent weight and you see here, see all implemented interfaces and direct subclasses. So which it was seeing? See now Fluent weight implements weight. Got it? So now the until method was implemented here itself. Now what exactly the Fluent weight is and what we will be getting from the Fluent weight? Let's try to see on this one, so that we can understand very clearly about this particular Fluent weight and what are the methods are available here. So if you see here, ignore all, ignoring class, polling every, timeout, until, these are the methods which it is implemented. From where this until method is coming from?
From weight.
Some weight.
From weight interface. Okay, so now we have these all methods are there. Now let's try to understand what is this particular Fluent weight. Now what would be the syntax for this particular Fluent weight? So now you understand the hierarchy. So first hierarchy is weight, Fluent weight, and WebDriver. So WebDriver weight implements the Fluent weight implements the weight. Now until method is only one, it was coming from the weight to the Fluent weight. Hey, one method, right? Directly they can implement over in the Fluent weight. Why they need to create an interface and then do it? There are a lot of reasons to do that. Okay, so don't get into that particular things. So understand the structure and the hierarchy. Guys, I'll not go to any other documentations and explaining. I'm directly explaining from the Java docs. If you see here, this is an official documentation. Always you should follow the official documentation so that you can understand it. Okay, so now let's understand what is this particular Fluent weight and then how this would be there. Okay, now let me open the syntax of the Fluent weight. Okay, so now let's go to this one and then see this. Explicit weight. Now it's in fluent weight. Now what we will try to do is the fluent weight. You see here, what is this? See, now this is
Syntax.
fluent weight syntax. Now, what is this?
Wait.
You need to understand that this is like, you understand, right? What is this called as?
Upcasting. Runtime.
Yes.
Super. That's it. Is there any other thing I need to explain for you? I don't think you have done. This is called upcasting. Now, what it was happening, allocating the child class memory to the parent interface or a class is called upcasting. Now, weight is an interface. I'm trying to create for an object for weight, right? Now, who is giving the memory for this particular weight? New fluent weight is trying to giving it. Now here we are having the web driver, means the driver object which we are created for the web driver, that particular reference, it is coming over here. Now, what are the things we wanted to keep for this particular fluent weight? First one, the timeout. Usually the timeout you will be giving it, right? So now the time which you have been given for implicit weight, explicit weight, the syntax you have been given it, right? Yes, no? You giving it, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So here, if you are the time you've given it, right?
Yes.
Let's see now. You need to understand this one so that it is, see, always people by hearts this one. I seriously don't wanted you to get by heart for this. So that's the reason I'm just trying to show the code and then explain for you. So this is our see. Now, if you see here, this is what our syntax, this is for our explicit weight. In the explicit weight, driver.time we have been given 20 seconds. And this is what the 10 seconds you have been given. So now this is what you are trying to give it. And driver object reference means this is web driver equal to new Chrome driver. Those object references you created, right? So that particular reference driver. So now here first we will be, see, into this particular fluent weight constructor, first we will pass the driver object. And then next one is a timeout. So timeout in seconds. So how much timeout you wanted to give? 20 seconds. I wanted to give 20 seconds here. Okay, so now you can see in the syntax also. So now here I can give it in the duration of seconds as 20. So now if you see here, the real time, the fluent weight exception. This is a real this is a syntax and this is a real implementation. Now you can see here what they're trying to give. So now here they have been given the WebDriver object. Okay, and then they have been given 30. So 30 seconds, how much time? Means they are mentioning that time unit in seconds. We can give the time unit in milliseconds also. So time unit, it is in seconds. So that is, it is 30 seconds. The same way we have been defined. Means the WebDriver also wait for a particular object for 30 seconds. Now, how this particular thing would be implemented is, you seen it, right? Wait until new functional web element. Okay, so don't worry, I'll explain this one. What is the advantage of this one is, we given the time here. Here also we have been given the time. So here I'll be looking for a specific element, and here I'll be looking for a group of elements. Now, how it is different from this, but the fluent weight is different from this explicit weight. This is the differences you need to understand, right? Step number one, even I was waiting for 30 seconds. Now the next one is polling time. What is the default polling time? The default polling time in the explicit weight?
0.5.
0.5 seconds.
That's a default polling time. I can't change that particular polling time. I know that for every 0.5 second, it will poll the DOM. Means, I told you, right? DOM means your web page. It will come to web page for every 0.5 second and see that whether this object is present or not. Next 0.5 second, it will come and then see for the object. Next 0.5 second, it will see the object and it will see it. Every 0.5 second, this will happen, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
But here, you can't change this particular 0.5 in explicit wait or in the implicit wait. But in the fluent wait, I can change my time. I can give that, hey, don't come and see for every 0.5 second. Come after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you come after 10 seconds and check the DOM. Because I know that it will take 10 seconds. For an example, now you paid a particular transaction. Okay. For an example, in Amazon, you bought a dress. So now once you bought that particular dress, so now when you made a payment, it will take certain 5 seconds of time to show your transaction ID. I need to capture the transaction ID. So when I wanted to get that particular transaction ID, I need to wait for 5 seconds, right? So I know that I need to wait for 5 seconds. Why I need to make every time for every 0.5 second, I need to hit this particular DOM? Not really required, right? So now I use that particular polar 5 seconds. So in explicit wait, the polling time is hard coded and default, it is 0.5. That's the reason multiple times I stressed out in that particular polling time. But whereas in the web fluent wait, this particular polling time would be, you can change 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever you wanted, you can change on this. The most important differences between the fluent wait and the explicit wait is, if at all there is an object is not visible or not exist in the DOM, if it did fade, what it will happen? If a particular element is not, the specific element is not present in the DOM, what the explicit wait will do?
No such element is throws an
Doesn't
exception. No such
execute next
element.
line.
See, executes next line. Who is saying that? See now, see, it is means if it throws the exception, it fails that, it comes out of that particular test case and go for the next test case. This is what we discussed, right, for the explicit wait. But what it will happen in the fluent wait is, if this particular exception is coming, no such element exception is coming, it will ignore that particular exception and proceed further with the next steps. For this particular specific element, if I get a no such element exception, it will ignore that, hey, okay, I know that this exception might come, I'll go for the next. See here, what it will happen in the implicit wait, it will move further with all the elements. Here it will fail and then it will stop that execution of the test case, go for the next test case. But here, this will ignore only if this particular exception is there. If at all, apart from this no such element thing, if we get any other exception, then definitely it will fail. Okay. So ignoring this particular exceptions. So except this particular exception, no such other exceptions would be taken care, right? Cool. So
Sir, we
any
can
other?
say then we have capabilities of both implicit and explicit in this.
Yes, it have both the capabilities of the implicit and explicit in such a way. But don't say that if someone asks you what is fluent wait, don't say that, hey, fluent wait is combination of implicit wait and explicit wait. Don't say that definition.
Okay.
See, the first thing is it can change your polling time and it can have this particular ignoring of this particular element, but not on all other things. Okay. So this is how the fluent wait would be implemented. Now we have this particular wait. With this particular wait object, we will be trying to implement on this particular implementation. So now how this is implemented, let's go back and then see it. So now you understand the declaration of this. Now see, here it is what the declaration of this object, creation declaration of the object. So here that declaration would be like this. This is the syntax. So fluent wait We are trying to create the object reference for the wait interface. Now you understand why I was saying the wait interface, then Fluent wait, because that's an interface. If you don't understand this one, how you will understand the statement? So first you need to understand what is a wait interface, and then the Fluent wait, and then without the time, and the polling job, and the ignoring such element exceptions. Oh, that is how this would be goes on. Okay, cool. So any other pointers here? Are we clear with this one?
In the real time, the Fluent wait will be mostly used rather than like explicit wait, right?
See, it's up to you. It is based upon the situational. Most of the situations, I told you, right, 90% of situations we will be writing with the WebDriver wait. Very rarely we use the Fluent wait. Actually, what it was happened is in 3.7 version of Selenium. Actually, there is an upgrade from 3.6 to 3.7. So now we are in 4.0.2, right? Now, when it is upgraded from 3.6 to 3.7, so this particular upgrade, explicit wait was not working. All the companies' code get failed. Then immediate remedy, what the people has done is everyone was fall into this particular Fluent wait. And in the next version, immediately they have been fixed that explicit wait. So this happened before 5 to 6 years ago. One night we sat and then we changed the complete all explicit waits into the Fluent waits. And once again the issue fixed, then once again we restored the code back. Or else the complete code will fail, because for every element we have been see now, how we will make sure is we will first check whether the element is present, and then we will click on the element. This is the right way of doing it, first of all, because if the element is not there, you're trying to click on that element. Is it really necessary, or is it really feasible? No. So that's the reason we should always know that which wait to use it. So now you need to understand, hey, what is explicit wait, what is implicit wait, what is Fluent wait, which is important, where to use what. I already given you an example, a needle and a sword. Where to use sword, you need to use sword. Where to use needle, you need to use that needle. That's it. Okay. Cool. So any other questions? Fine. So you need to understand this one. And one more thing. So unless you implemented that, you will not understand this. Okay. So go back and then try to implement as much as possible, and then you can understand. And if you are able to do that one, then that's it. It is very easy for you people to get it done. Okay. Any other? See, you need to, these are the implicit weights and the explicit weight differences. Just go through that particular implicit weight and the explicit weights differences, and then try to understand on that particular differences. Okay, implement them and then try to use this. And tomorrow what I wanted to talk about is, I wanted to talk about the most important topic tomorrow, which is DC, desired capabilities, options, profiles. This is one of the very, very important topic. And after this particular topic, the next one, it is exceptions. So these are the two topics are there. So tomorrow I'll try to do this one, and after tomorrow it will take this session. Probably this holds these two sessions, means these three, means probably it may take 2 to 3 sessions on this. So if we complete this one, we are done.